Hello. My name is Aaron Morgan, and this is my presentation on the analysis and response to my OCAI evaluation. So first, I want to just start off by saying I super enjoyed this. It was a different look. I've taken personality tests before, and I've looked at my personality types, but to understand my organizational culture framework was different, but it really was very accurate. To give you a little background, I'm a pastor and have been for over 20 years, and I'm also in the educational world and Christian education. So, with all that being said, let's get right into this analysis of um, this OCAI that we took. So, the results are in, and here it is. So, as you can see, I scored very heavily in collaborative and in control. Both of those lend credence to both the career paths that I'm currently in, and that meaning collaborative, a friendly, people-oriented feel to my organizational culture. Being in a church, we value our leaders being seen as mentors. Means our deacons and or pastors or any of our workers are seen that way. We focus on the long-term human resource of it. We want to develop people over time, and that's ministry in a nutshell. We value the teamwork and the participation and the consensus as a whole. Everybody working together. That's also in the field of education. Same way. We value that family feel. Um, but then the control factor is it's very formalized. I mean, you're not going to differ from the scriptures a whole lot. We're not going to differ a whole lot from what the scripture says. So if we kind of look at both of these in conjunction with each other, that collaborative culture and the control culture, they both really play off each other in the sense that coming from a church aspect, our leaders focusing on being the coordinator of it, and our procedures are directly affect the behavior of things. But also, we create a people-oriented workplace. So they're playing off of each other. And in the control, we value the efficiency and predictability, but we really follow and follow a formal set of rules and policies, meaning we're always going to follow the Bible, and the Bible is going to be the standard by which we follow. The Holy Scriptures are that set of rules that we go by. And then in education, it's the curriculum by which we teach. So both of those, I really feel like this evaluation was great in my current framework because being a pastor for so many years and being in Christian education for a long time, both of those lend a lot of in-depth, evaluations on who I am and the framework by which I work right now. Now, with that being said, after I took the test the second time, I tried to be a little bit more balanced, and so there has to be some attention areas. And the problem of it is the graph really had me heavily in that one in those two quadrants with competitive and control, and not so much in the creative or the compete culture. Um, in churches, a lot of times we don't have a balanced approach to the creative side. We typically find something that works and we just do it, and if it works in there. But the problem of it is I have to develop a deeper understanding and a drive for innovation and competitive productivity within not only the school setting but also the church setting. I think I have to have a balanced approach that would make me more diverse in my opportunities and really feel more complete. Many times in church, one of the struggles is being on the cutting edge or being more um, focused in on those ways that we can inspire a creative environment. Typically, like I say, we get in one set mode and we kind of go that way. Um, the create culture is lacking, but I believe it's necessary in churches and in schools to create and grow new resources to really find success in individuals finding the initiative to go beyond just the scope of their education or even go beyond the scope of their church. Um, what I find in my own personal evaluation is I needed more balance. We ought to compete. We ought to strive to do more. The bottom line ought to be not necessarily the dollar, but in church, the bottom line ought to be Christian growth, and the bottom line ought to be productivity. And sometimes I think we get lax and complacent in that. And just like a business that would get lax and complacent in its product and maybe too family friendly. I think sometimes in churches we get way too complacent, and we need to strive to have that balance, to compete, to go deeper, to not to be um, uh, uh, okay with the status quo. And to do that, sometimes we need to, I know my own self, look for new ways, drive myself, push myself, don't get comfortable, step outside the box. And I believe that's a biblical principle as well as an educational principle. Are we just teaching history? Or are we going to teach history that comes alive? Are we just teaching science? Or are we going to teach science in a way that inspires a kid to be the next scientist? So I think all of those are needful. And yeah, we can just say, well, we're going to teach our curriculum and we're just going to follow by this standard by which we have. Without balance, I think we become too lopsided. And as the book said, too solo, or just too focused in. So how do I narrow this gap? I believe in the weeks in this particular course, I need to personally focus in on understanding and knowledge in the create culture and the market culture, and understand truly the depths of that. Knowledge is power, so I have to increase my awareness in both of these areas to create more balance in my personal life. The goal is to be centered in the middle of that framework, to have balance on all four quadrants, or at least to have my foot in all four quadrants. And so when it comes to my ministry at church, when it comes to my educational world, I don't want to have an imbalanced approach. I want to have a centeredness about who I am and not be just the collaborative, just the control, but really have my foot in the competitive world of helping kids get a little deeper, helping my congregation be a little bit more product oriented in its approach, but then also create an environment that's dynamic for them to say, I want to try new things. Let's step out of the box. Let's um, get out of our norms and really have an opportunity to stretch into a new area of growth. So for me, narrowing the gap is to gain a better understanding and really to create in myself balance within the create culture and the compete culture in my own personal life, to really just stretch the boundaries of who I am and where I work in my own framework. I so enjoyed this. This is great. I'm probably going to come back at the end of this course and do this all again, and even probably work within my deacons and maybe other people, other areas of interest in my life, and just to see and challenge ourselves on a lot of different levels. Thank you so much, and I look forward to the rest of this course. God bless.